Welcome to South Florida saltwater fishing. I'm Heath and it's Tips and Tricks Thursday. In today's episode, I'm going to go over how to rig a daisy chain. This is a versatile rig that'll catch you tuna, dolphin, wahoo, whatever critters are out there biting. Before we get into this though, do us a favor. Hit the subscribe button, give this video a like, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Alright everybody, you know what time it is. Let's do this. You need a few items. It's actually less complicated than it looks, even though I've got all this hardware going on. I'll start from over here and I'll work my way this way. What you're gonna need is 4 squirt squids that hold a 1/2 ounce sinker each. At the tail of my rig, I'm going to put a 6-inch turbo slammer billy bait. You're going to need 4 or 5 pieces of 18-inch long leader. This is 40-pound test. And then for the top of my rig, I use about a 2-foot piece of leader. Same thing, 40-pound test. I've got here, you're going to need 4 swivels. These are size 6 swivels. And then I've got one which will be the top of my rig, which will hook onto my main line on my snap swivel. This is a number 7 swivel. Then here I have 4 5/0 J hooks and 1 set of double hooked 6/0 J hooks in the thick wire. These are thin wire hooks, these are thick wire. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing I want to show you is a squirt squid does not come weighted. They normally come unweighted, and you would have to take the very tip of it with a cutting tool and you trim away just enough to get a little hole in the top here so your line can run through it. Now you've got to take your 1/2 ounce sinker and you feed it in through the head and you line it up as good as you can, and then you pinch back here and the sinker will squeeze into the head, and then you're good to go. So these ones are already rigged up. Now this one is weighted. We're good to go. We're ready to start making our rig. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom of what would be the last lure on my rig and work my way up. Again, it's a daisy chain, so we're going to have 5 lures in tandem on one line. So I'm going to start out with 1 piece. Again, these are 18-inch pieces of 40-pound test clear mono. I'm going to feed the first piece through the tip, and it's going to come out the back side. So I've got this lure on the line. Now at the bottom, I'm going to use my double hook at the very end of my rig. I will take this and I'm going to tie a simple clinch knot at the very bottom of my rig. So I want to tell you while I'm doing this that I am actually tying a rig that I'm going to use this weekend. Since the tuna are around, that's what we'll be going for. Okay, clinch knot. Take a clipping tool, tighten that bad boy up. Okay, that's number 1. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to tie a swivel. And again, everything we're going to do is clinch knots, very simple. Okay, and we can trim that up. And now we're going to tie our next piece of line on, which is another 18-inch. Feed it through the eye of your swivel, and then we're going to tie another clinch knot. Alright, trim off the tag end. Okay, now, sometimes, so here's what we have so far, is we have our bottom lure, and then 18 inches up we have a swivel. Now, sometimes your lures going up will get hit. You want to prevent a cutoff, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these 5-0 hooks, I'm going to open up the eye. What you do is where your hook meets your shank, you take your cutting tool, place it right in between there, close it, and you spread the eye open a little bit. You see how I've opened up the eye? Now I'm going to hook that onto my swivel. Then I'm going to take the back side of my cutting tool, place it over that hook, and I am going to crimp it closed. Hold your hook in the face down position right back here so it doesn't twist on you, and you pinch your fingers. And then you just crimp it closed. Be careful not to pinch your knot or anything like that. And then you're good to go. So what you have here is a swivel, your hook, and your line. Now we're going to drop our first lure on to that swivel. There we go. So what will happen is your lure will troll. This is a very effective method in case one of these top lures gets hit by a fish, you can catch them too. Some folks do make daisy chains without putting a hook on it. Past experience has told me, put a hook on them. They do get hit, you can lose the entire rig except for your very top lure. Alright, so that is the first lure. You want to make sure it lays down flat. Now we're going to tie on another swivel up at the top of this leader right here. Alright, we're going to trim our tag end. And again, we'll take another piece of our 18-inch and we're going to tie it to the top side of the lure, of the swivel, I'm sorry. And then another clinch knot. All right. Lure number 2, take another 5-0 hook, open up the eye, pop it onto the bottom side of the swivel, and then take the back side of your cutting tool and close up the eye. All right. And now we are going to thread on our second lure. So far we have one lure, two lures, and our bottom lure. We're going to repeat this process 2 more times. Clinch knot. Try again. Another clinch knot. Next hook, open up the eye of the hook again, and make sure you put it at the bottom of your swivel. Close that up. And we'll thread us on our next lure. So far we've got three squirt squids and a billy bait. Alright. Now we're going to put on our last swivel that will be our lure stopper and hook, and then we're almost done here. Now we've gone through all of our 18-inch pieces of leader. Now we're going to take our top one and we'll tie us our final clinch knot. Actually, it's not the final, because there's going to be one more. Alright, this will be our final hook to open up and hook onto the lure. Open it. Find the bottom side of your swivel. Hook it on. So you can see, you want to sort of pre-make this rig. You don't want to be out on your boat taking the time to make this rig. It's always good business if you've got something like this that you want to pay real close attention to. Make it at home the night before. Alright. Close up that eye just a little bit more. Alright. You gotta make sure your eye is nice and closed. You don't want to leave any gaps, because if it twists around, it can pull right off and you'll lose your fish. Alright, we're going to thread on our final lure. Make sure all your little tentacles of your lure are dangling down nice and pretty. And we're going to, now we have the 7/0 swivel, which is the biggest of the 5. we are going to hook that up at the very top so that we can pop it onto our snap swivel, which is attached onto our main line of our reel. Final knot of this rig. Alright. So, again, from the top, swivel. First lure, second lure, third lure, Alright, so that was the tutorial on how to tie a daisy chain. Like I said, I made this one here. So what basically happens is you troll it through the water and you get a streamline of baits that look like a school of bait fish running through. And the idea is that the fish will go after the trailing one in the group. But in case it doesn't happen, I've added on a special little surprise of a hook on each lure. That way I don't get cut off. If somebody comes by and nabs this top one, I might not lose my entire rig. Especially this bait down here. This is a $10 lure, the Billy Bait Turbo Slammer. As I said, I made this rig. I'm going to be using it this Sunday if I can get out and go trolling, because I know the tuna are swimming around in about 100 to 120 feet. We had that happen last week. Hopefully again we can get something this week. Let me just talk to you a little bit about the daisy chain. This is a great agitator. It agitates the water. It leaves lots of bubbles. It makes noise. It gets the fish fired up. It is a major fish attractant. Again, it looks like it's one way to troll several different items through the water on one reel. It's a major fish attractant. They go after it, they go crazy, they will hit all of these baits. You could have one fish swallow this entire rig if it's hungry enough. A wahoo can come up and destroy this entire rig if it wanted to. Highly effective. Very highly effective. You can troll it shallow, you can troll it deep, you can take it way off shore and it will produce the same results. Again, it's a tandem line rig, made basically so you increase your chances of getting hooked up to whatever it is that may feel like eating it. Again, I'm going to be trolling for tuna with it this weekend. If something else comes along and wants to chomp on one of these top lures, I'm good to go. Alright, so I'm going to hook this onto my reel, and alright folks, that about does it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. We hope to see you next Tuesday for our Sunday showdown that's going to be going on. Like I said, I'm going to be using this lure to troll up and down the reef's edge and see what we can nab. Until next time, South Florida saltwater fishing, taking us where the cool wind blows us.